Greetings. My name is Vandana Dhanpat and I am a resident of Mauritius. I'm currently studying at the University of Manitoba, Winnipeg, Canada. Today, I'll be narrating a story about human values. Human values play a big part in our life. Nowadays, we see that youngsters and adults are not going through human values as long ago we would go. So today, here is an example of what we see in our everyday life. Long ago in a village, there lived a small boy. The little boy had a friend, an apple tree. The apple tree was very attached to the little boy. Every now and then, the little boy used to go and play with the apple tree. He used to climb the branches, eat some of the apples, and nap in its shade. The apple tree was very happy with his little friend. He was not alone. Then, the little boy stopped coming. The apple tree became sad. He could not move, and he could not go find his friend. One day, a teenager approached the apple tree. Intrigued, the apple tree asked, "How may I help you?" The little boy, now a teenager, replied, "I am the same little boy that used to play with you." Hearing this, the tree got very happy. His friend was back. Then the apple tree replied, "Come play with me. I would love to stay with you longer." The teenager looked at him and replied, "I am now a teenager. I can't play with trees. However, I need money to buy toys." The apple tree looked at him sadly and said, "Unfortunately, I do not have money to give you, but you can sell my apples, and the money that it gives you, you can buy your toys." The teenager plucked all of the apples, sold them in the market, and bought his toys. He was very happy. However, he stopped coming again. Then, another fine day after years, a man approached the apple tree. Intrigued again, the apple tree asked, "How may I help you?" The man replied, "I am the same boy, the same teenager that was your friend." Hearing this, the apple tree got happy again. The apple tree said, "Come, my dear friend, sit with me." The man said, "No, I have a family now. I need a house to shelter them, but I do not have money to build a house." The apple tree, sad again, said, "I do not have money to offer you, but you can chop all of my branches to build your home." The man chopped all of the branches and built himself and his family a home. He stayed happy with his family and soon forgot about the apple tree. The apple tree was now a piece of trunk. The apple tree was very sad because he was alone again and the man had stopped visiting. After a lot of years, the man became old. He came back to the apple tree. The apple tree asked, "How may I help you?" The man replied, "I am the same man that used your branches to build my home. I want to go sail now, but I don't have money to buy a boat." The apple tree replied, "No worries, you can cut my trunk and build yourself a boat." The man cut the trunk, built himself a boat, and he was gone for a long time. Then the tree had nothing left to offer. He was sad. He was just old roots. One day, a very old man approached the tree. The tree replied, "I can't do anything for you now." He knew this was the little boy, this was the teenager, this was the man that he loved so much his entire life. The old man, now wrinkled with age, replied, "I do not have anything to offer. I do not have anything to ask. I am here for you now. I'm alone. I'm sad. I do not need your trunks because I'm too old to climb. I do not need your apples because I do not have teeth to eat them. However, I want to just lean and rest in your old roots." Tears in eyes, the old man said to the tree. So, the moral of the story is, the apple tree is like our parents. We take them for granted and we come to them only when we need them. However, it is to be noticed that the apple tree was always here for the boy, despite the boy not being there for the apple tree. He took advantage of the apple tree and took all of its benefits and sold it for his own monetary means. It is now time to realize that our parents are irreplaceable and that we need to value them before all is gone and we are too old. Because in the case of the apple tree, the roots were here, but in the case of our parents, they won't be here forever. So we need to treasure them and keep them till they are here. Thank you.
Hello everyone, Myself Yashika, a student of Lovely Professional University, Fagwara. The title of my story today is My Childhood Best Friend, a Detested Mother. Evening time, and I'm all ready to examine my patient. I get dressed up, have my stethoscope and my pen to note down what all I diagnose. She is an old lady, seems quite weak and mean. I make her lie down and start scribbling on my notepad. And then I say, "You have a little fever. Take paracetamol and some other medicines, you'll be fine." And then I tell her she'll need an injection. "Don't worry, it will pain a little." I say that in my innocent tone. She just says, "Ouch, Dr. Saiba. Thank you. I'll be better soon." This 7-year-old ambitious Dr. Me would keep diagnosing her the whole day. That was a sight to behold. Too innocent and pure. This old lady was my neighbor. She would stay by all afternoon and play with me. She was my only friend, we can say. Now as a grown-up, my mother often tells me her tales. What she told me today had hit me quite hard. The old lady was a wife to Smith's man. Both husband and wife went through hard times but survived, and they raised their kids well. Both the sons were well educated, and the daughter was too married in a well-settled family. The Smith's man died of sudden heart attack, and the old lady had become a liability to her kids. Her elder son decided to take her responsibility, but just for the property her husband had left for her. She wasn't treated well by him or his wife. She was treated like a servant. The day was like thunder to her when her younger son, whom she loved deeply, came in shouting at her. He shouted violently, "What have you done? I knew you never loved me. You deceived me. Am I not your son?" In the way he talked, you won't judge that he was talking to the woman who gave him birth. "But what did I do?" she asked. "You gave the most expensive property to your loving son, and now you ask me as if you don't know anything?" But when? Then she remembers some days back her son got a thumbprint on some papers telling her it was her health insurance. As she was getting old, her heart broke. She never knew that this was what her sons would do to her. "Don't act like this," he shouted at the top of his voice and came in to thrash his mother, but the old lady still got some strength. He bashed him off and let him out of the house. When the elder son came back home, she asked him, but he didn't give any explanations and was rather not guilty of what he had done. The old woman decided to not stay there anymore. She decided to live separately. Where she lived now was a dark room, uncemented, a room which was house to several pests and rats. Rainy season would make it house to snakes too. No fan, no electricity, nothing at all. You can say it was hell, but she survived. She was so loving that her neighbors helped her a lot. And then one day, I got the news that the old woman had died. Her sons had taken everything she collected to live, even from what she had collected from the neighbors. The sons who didn't even come to see her even when my mother or the other neighbors told them about the deteriorating health of their mother. They never came to see what their mother would be going through. The old woman had self-respect. She could be a pain, but she didn't want to take any help from her sons or daughter. I was surprised to know that what all had happened to her was so severe that even after her death, she gave a large amount of money to her sons, who were so unhuman, greedy, selfish, and shame in the name of kids. I recollected how often she came to her house, my mother served her food, and she was so happy. She was so pure and innocent. Now, there is no dark room. Her dark room has turned into a showroom as their sons sold it to a businessman. And what is more strange and ironical is that the businessman had named the showroom in the beloved memory of his parents. Strange, but fact. It is just about the values you learn. Values are caught, not taught. I would conclude by saying everything you do will happen to you. We are our teachers as we are theirs. We are one lesson. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Bhavna Devi Bisindya. I go to University of Mauritius and Mahatma Gandhi Institute. So the topic for today is moral human values, and my story for today is all human beings are equal. Long, long ago, there lived a king in Africa. He was very arrogant and authoritarian man. One day, while sitting in his palace, surrounded by several people who had come to see him, he was suddenly overcome by a sense of grandeur and announced that he was the master of the world and that all men were his servants. "All men are servants of each other," said a wispy voice. "You are mistaken." There was dreadful silence after this comment. The blood froze in the veins of the people assembled there. After hearing this, the king lost his temper and burst in anger. The king got up from the royal throne and enquired about the voice and asked, "Who said that? Who dares to suggest that I am a servant?" "I do," said a voice in the crowd, and a white-haired old man, leaning heavily on a stout stick, came out. "Who are you?" asked the king. "I have come from a nearby village. There is no water in the well in our village. I have come to request you that the well should be dug there," he answered. "So you are a beggar!" shouted the king, marching down to where the man stood. "Yet you have the temerity to call me a servant!" "We all serve one another," said the old man, showing no fear, "and I will prove it to you before nightfall." "Do that," said the monarch. "Force me to wait for you. If you can do that, I will have not one, but 3 wells dug in your village. But if you fail, you will lose your head." The old man said, "I want to touch your feet. Can I do it before proving myself?" "Yes, you can," said the king. "Please hold my stick," said old man. The king took the stick, and the old man bent down to touch the monarch's feet. "Now you may give it back to me," he said, straightening up. The king gave him back his stick. The old man asked, "Do you want more proof from me?" "Proof?" asked the king, muddled. "You held my stick when I asked you, and gave it back to me when I asked you for it," said the old man. "As I said, all good men are servants of one another." The king was amused to see the old man's wisdom rather than being annoyed. The king promised him to get the 3 wells dug in his village. The king appointed the old man as his personal adviser. Thus we all serve each other, and no one is a master. Thank you.